Good evening and welcome to another live stream from a home in Italy, live in beautiful Abruzzo. And this evening, we've got a bit of a treat. Do you want to know why? Because we've got somebody live in this studio for the first time ever, apart from Silvana, my wife. Nobody else has ever shared this studio. So this person is extremely privileged, and I'm not going to tell you who it is just yet. I should imagine a few of you can guess by the name of tonight's show. But there you go. You can have a guess for 10 minutes while we talk other things, and then we'll bring him on very shortly. So have your questions ready. We're talking about exchanging funds and that kind of thing. We're going to teach you this evening how to potentially save thousands, not hundreds, not tens, thousands, when it comes to exchanging your funds from wherever you are in the world over to here in Italy to buy, hopefully using our services. So make sure you stay tuned in all the way through. We're going to be giving you loads of tips, what you should be doing, and how we're trying to make it so it's extremely easy to do all of this this kind of thing, because so many people are worried about how does it all work, where do we send the funds, who holds on to the funds, so on and so on. We're going to go through everything tonight, so make sure you stay with us. Unfortunately, tonight we can't do Tony and Domenico's tongue twisting trials, and that's because Domenico unfortunately is working at the moment, so that makes a change, doesn't it? So he's actually got some clients that have just bought a property in Vittorito and is there talking restorations with them. Don't know how he's managing with Google Translate, and who knows what those restorations are going to turn out like, but we'll see. We'll keep a close eye on that one. So unfortunately, we can't do that. I am going to bring Tony on though, just for 2 minutes as a little cameo, just because I know you'll miss him if not. But so we will allow him to come on shortly. He will be is somewhere in the background fiddling around with things, waiting for the questions tonight. What we have, Alex saying, just wanted to say I love your videos and please continue speaking on your videos and suggesting ideas. I just enjoy hearing your voice. That's very kind. Who said that? Alex Ortiz. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Tony, did you hear that? They like listening to my voice. Did you hear my Yorkshire accent, not your strange Lincolnshire one? Anyway. Thank you very much. What a nice comment. We do have the I forgot what the name of it now is. It's the stunning photo of the week. Yes, we do have that. And this evening, let's go straight into that straight away. This is from our very own Lama Laurie. She sent this photograph quite a while ago, and I came across it today because yesterday the weather was terrible here, and I just thought we've had enough of winter now, even though it's only January or early February, and I saw this photograph and I thought this is nice. So there you go. That's this week's stunning photo of the week from our very own Lama Laurie, and hopefully I'll be enjoying a couple of these very soon. That looks, I don't know when that was taken, but that looks like spring is on its way. It feels like spring is on its way. So there you go. That's today's stunning photo of the week. And last week we had the tour, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was a smaller group than usual because January, obviously winter months, some people don't like to leave where they are, but we had an absolutely fantastic time. What a great group. In fact, I suppose I better bring Tony on, haven't I, just so he can let everybody know what he thought about the group. Hold on a second, let's bring him on. Here he is. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, young man. How are you?
That's all a bit serious. What are you talking like that?
I was going to go back to normal.
Please, you got dressed up. Please, you got
professional.
Please, you got dressed up for the occasion. Anyway, you taking your Christmas tree down?
Yes, it's gone. Yeah, she wanted to keep it up till the 14th of March, but
is that serious? So let's just explain to people that Tony's wife is from Kazakhstan. So you're telling me she would have kept the Christmas tree up until the why?
Because it's New Year's on the 14th. In
14th of March.
13th, 14th of March in Kazakhstan.
Christmas tree up all that time.
Yeah.
You gotta love that, haven't you?
It's just all year round in my house.
I bet you're still watching Christmas films, definitely.
I haven't watched one for a few days.
For a few days. What did you think of the group this time?
We always have a little bit of a trepidation thought that, you know, what's this group going to be? But it never fails, does it? They're really nice people, and they're really interested and just so pleased to see what they see.
They loved it, didn't they?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they did love it.
Hopefully next week. I think it's next week. I'm doing the Abruzzo one. So I think it's the week after next. Get a few of them.
Okay.
Get a few of them on here. It should be good. Okay, then, Tony, you've had your outing today. That's enough.
Thank you. Break a leg.
Don't go to sleep though. We still need you to put some questions.
I'm still drinking tea.
I am.
Not like you. Yeah, you're on what?
It's only because we've got a special guest. So we've got Montepulciano d'Abruzzo on the go.
Yeah. I've got Montepulciano tea.
Well done. Okay, so other notices that I want to tell you. The tours, the next tour. No, first thing I better do is for anybody that's looking for a rental property in Abruzzo, get in touch with our friends at, if I can find them, Tony should be doing this. Here we go. Rentinabruzzo@gmail.com. Get in touch with them if you're looking for short or long-term rentals over here in Abruzzo. And if you're looking also to maybe get a visa, you can stay in some of their properties for 12 months, obviously not free, but they will also help you register the contract and all that kind of thing. So if you are looking to rent rather than buy something, get in touch with these. And also their YouTube channel is there to the left, youtube.com /Renting Abruzzo. Have a look at some of the properties that they've got available. There's some in Palombaro, there's some Sulmona, there's a few in different places, so it's definitely worth a look at. Then we have the tours, the tour date. Let me get the next ones. Here we go. So January, obviously sold out. Why have we still got January written on there, Tom? Anyway, March sold out. May 8th and 9th, we've only got 10 spaces left. I'm going to sneeze in a second. I can feel it coming. 8th and 9th, 10 spaces. It must be Dave. Oh, I've just said who it is now. It must be his aftershave. 8th and 9th, 10 spaces left. And May the 29th and 30th, 11 spaces left. They will go quickly. So if you are thinking about coming over on a tour, then go to www.ahomeiniitaly.com, click on tours and book yourself a tour. Don't miss out because they are fantastic. And then we're also going to be doing autumn dates. We've not completely confirmed it, but by the end of this month, they will be available for sale. These are the proposed dates. So September the 25th and 26th, October the 23rd and 24th, and November the 6th and 7th. So keep an eye out for those. It's pretty much looking like they are definitely going to be the date. We just need a couple more weeks, just waiting to hear back from the coach company and a couple of other things that we need to check, and then we will confirm those dates. So make sure you look out for those. Are we ready? Are we ready to start tonight? So has anybody guessed, by the way, who our special guest is? Has anybody written it? Can anybody guess who it may be? Anyway, we'll see. We'll see in the next few seconds who it's going to be. So we're talking about. Why have we got stunning photo of the week written there, Tony? What's wrong with you tonight? It's me that's on the wine. You're on the tea, and you're just not pulling it together. Stunning photo of the week. We did that 5 minutes ago. Here we go. So what we're talking about tonight. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Will it come on? He's good, isn't he? He is on the ball. I mean, look how quick he is. I can see a little TV screen of him there. And there he is. Look, tonight's live stream. Sending funds. Let's make it easy. So we are talking about exchanging funds. So I would very much like, we were going to get a smoke machine as well and a little staircase with lights on and some music for when he comes down to introduce himself. But I'm really excited to have somebody else in the studio with me. And that person is David Nixon from Currencies Direct. So I'm going to move over. And here he is. Very much. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
We didn't have the fan. Oh, can you hear that Tony put the applause on? Well done, Tone. Well done. Okay, nice to see you.
Yeah,
can't believe you're here.
Really great to be here. First impressions, immaculate for anybody even contemplating moving to this particular part of Italy. I can tell you that it's love at first sight for me, like I was told by many people that it would be. So again, really appreciate you having me here, and I'm just delighted to be a part of the show again.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure. So when you got in last night, yeah?
Yeah, last night to Rome, took the drive over. I think it might have touched freezing on a couple of spots on the mountains on the way over from Rome.
He lives in Florida, so
Yeah.
he's no. He's actually comes from the north of England, where they know when it's cold. Now he's gone a little bit soft.
Yeah, I'm very, very soft. I mean, I moved to Southern Europe in 2001, and then from there to Florida. So I am definitely more used to warmer climates. That's for sure. But
it wasn't that bad today. When we were in Palombaro, and I think it was 10 degrees in Palombaro, which is not bad. We're in winter time.
It was nice. I had a light coat on. I was fine. Yeah.
But I actually saw you shivering. I did see. It was almost like, when you take a child out in the snow and the bottom lip starts quivering a little bit.
It was that one road, wasn't it, in Palombaro that had no sun on it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I was delighted to come round the corner and be greeted with the sunshine in one of the many beautiful views that we saw today, for sure.
So obviously we had a bit of a trek around. We went to pass by Civitella, Faro San Martino, Palombaro, Penna Piedimonte. Was it? And we started in the bar, obviously. Not that we had alcohol, which we didn't actually. No, you had a coffee, didn't you?
Yeah.
He came to Italy and asked the bar person for an Americano, and he's an Englishman. I mean, what? We just cannot educate some people. It's shocking. I can't. When you actually said that Americano, I thought, no, you can't.
I mean, I could tell I let you down straight away.
Big star.
Sure.
You're making up now with the wine, but so what were you expecting when you? Because it's first time. It's not your first time in Italy, is it?
It is my first time in Italy.
Is it really?
Actually, yeah. So I spent a lot of time in Spain, but first time in Italy. I have to say that when I've seen the sort of clients that we've been working with that have been buying properties for you, and seeing the value of the properties that they've been buying, to be honest, my expectations weren't, very, very high in terms of what we were going to see and what we were going to do. Now, I knew there was going to be beautiful scenery, but some of the places that you've shown me today, I mean, I'm already, you know what I mean? The chains and the cogs have started going into my brain about, why is this place such a mystery? And I think I've been bombarding you with questions all day about, like, why isn't there a tourist thing on every side of this? But I think what I come to learn today when we were driving around is that actually the fact that there are a lot of foreigners living here, but the fact that there isn't much of a big touristy kind of feeling about it, I think that's the real beauty and the real charm of the area. Yeah. So I think those are the things that really landed with me today, was that, somebody that, has young kids and I'm getting older, this is definitely the sort of destination that, I would want to come to and experience, great food, good wine, and some of the most spectacular views, that, you could have ever expected. So really pleased with how it's gone.
So were you thinking sort of, the price of the properties must mean the area is
yes,
yeah.
I think if I'm being absolutely honest,
and I think that it is, and I think lots of people do think that. I think because I think that is the thing, isn't it? If you buy something cheap, often it's cheap for a reason. Very rarely it's cheap just because it's undiscovered or
I mean, I work in real estate in the United States, working with foreigners that are buying there, and they're buying properties for $500,000, 600,000, and I've seen properties today for a third of that price, which are by far superior in the way that they're built and the way that they look and the views that they have and the space that they have as well. So fabulous. And now I can completely understand why so many Americans and other Brits, are looking to buy property here for sure.
Yeah. Excellent. So tomorrow we're either going to go to the ski. Where I was thinking, you probably haven't got a big enough coat. Did you bring your big coat?
Oh, I've got two coats, so I'll wear them both.
In the UK, where we come from in the north, you always say your big coat, even though it's the same size as all your other coats. But your big coat is what you wear when it's cold. So if you brought your big coat, we'll go in the mountains. If not, we'll head towards the beach. We'll see. We'll decide tomorrow. So obviously we've had conversations on here before, and I do want to go through some of the stages and the rest of it. Tell us, I've known you for a while, but it's the first time I've ever met you. So tell everybody a little bit about you, your family, where you're based, and all the rest of it, just so people can get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Originally from Northumberland. So definitely left there quite early on in my life. Like when I was 21, went to live in Spain, which is why I'm so soft now. Just again, the weather. Very lucky to be in a part of a business that allows me to travel and live in a different parts of the country and different parts of the world. So to get the opportunity, around 28 to go and live and work in the United States, that was a huge opportunity for me. And now it's really good because I still feel connected to the area because, again, I've got lots of American people that are buying here that, use our services to, transfer their funds. So it's a really nice connection that I still have with Europe. And certainly here with Italy. I have 2 young girls. I'm going to give them a quick shout out now because they're going to be watching on the television tonight. So Rosie, Olive, they are 5 and 3. I'm missing them terribly. So again, thank you for letting me come and take this visit on my own. I appreciate you.
Earlier today, you said it was peaceful.
It is peaceful.
I'm only joking.
It was nearly too quiet. American accents now. I'm a full-time American now as well. So so
they've got the accent of this.
Yeah, daddy. So it's unusual, but I'm they're my whole life and my whole world. So I don't know what I did before them, but it was probably a waste of time. I'm grateful now that I'm a dad, and it's a life-changing thing for me, for sure.
So you're showing me up now. My kids are going to be saying, "Why don't you ever say anything about that?"
Well, yeah, they're older now, aren't they? So they've been through their teenage years. I'm sure I'll say something completely different. In 15
we'll
years
see.
time.
Let's see. Let's make a note of this. 15 years, we'll come back and do this. Okay, so obviously we've got some questions. I want to answer this one because this is a quick one. Obviously, we're going to get to know about the business, about Currencies Direct. But let's answer this one quickly because somebody said that you're still not offering services in Colorado. Are they planning on changing that anytime soon? So just so everybody knows, at the moment, the way they like you. Obviously, we're talking about the States now, but places like the UK, Australia, Canada, you deal with all of those. But in particular, the United States, you mentioned before that it's to do with licensing within states. So
So every state is different. Every state needs us to be fully registered and regulated in those states. And what we found was that, well, let's cover the states where 70% of all Americans live and work. And so that's what we originally did while we were there. However, opportunities like this, we're very, very big in Spain and Portugal as a company. And the appetite for Americans in particular to buy property in Europe is absolutely huge. So it just makes sense to get all of those other licenses at one single time. So our deadline on that, as set by our CEO, is March the 31st. We have everything in place, all of the arrangements, but there are a lot of tests involved to make sure that when we are licensed there, that everything is ready to go on day one. So we're in a very much of a testing phase now, which is very normal for a company like ours. We want to make sure that everything is correct. So on the 1st of April, we can go live and we can start servicing people in exactly the same way that the current clients are being serviced in the United States. So
you chose April Fools to be the day when you when you decide to start something new.
I think it's March the 31st.
Is it? Yeah, I was going to say I would rethink that. So that's what the CEO says. Can we call him out that we're better?
You can absolutely. Yeah, he's been on record a number of times in our meetings. So
we'll call. In fact, we're going to do this again on the 31st of March. So Mr. CEO, I don't know his name. What's his name?
No, he's a French gentleman based in London. So very much a.
No. Okay, so we will be in touch. I know on the 1st of April, no, the 2nd of April, and we'll see how things are going. No, but that's so. Just so I mean, obviously, we're talking like this as if everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
The company who you work with is Currencies Direct.
Yes.
And obviously, you are everywhere else other than seems the States. Understand the concept of foreign exchange companies.
Yeah.
Coming from the UK, I mean, we spoke about this earlier today because we used to do exhibitions in the UK and you used to do the same exhibitions. And you foreign exchange companies were like double glazing companies were years ago that used to sell windows and come knock it. There just seemed to be so many of you. But yet once we started dealing more with clients from Canada and America, it was nobody seemed to know about it. So what's that all about?
It's an education, really. So again, most people in America and Canada, they'll definitely use their bank to transfer money, as opposed to in the UK. I think we know that that's the last place that you want to exchange large sums of money unless you need some actual physical cash. So the whole premise around our industry is that we do three things better than a bank when it comes to international payments. Number one is that we're cheaper, which means our exchange rates are better. So when David talks about saving thousands versus, your bank, on a transfer of $100,000, for example, we're probably likely to save you $2,000 versus, a regular high street bank, for example. The second thing is obviously speed. Now, you might think that it's really easy to send $100,000, but there's a lot of checks and balances need to be in place for that to happen. So number one, we need to find out who you are to make sure you're not on any kind of watch list, for example. We need to make sure that that who you're paying is the correct person. So just to give you an example, last week, I think, you may have changed some bank details, and that actually got flagged as if to say, this isn't the usual bank account somebody sends money to. And again, that's all part of the security standpoint. We're protecting our clients.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with that, actually. Even though, at first when you said, is this money going somewhere else? And I sort of double check myself, because obviously it's important when people are sending large amounts. So it is great to know that you guys pick that up straight away.
So price, speed. So again, if you think about that, why that might happen at a company that doesn't have a relationship with yourself or doesn't have that sort of human service, all of a sudden that transfer would be delayed. That company or bank would then have to reach out to you personally. They wouldn't do that via a phone call. That would be via an email. What are these funds for? Where are they going? You'd have to then reply to the bank, and then they would then release the money. In this case, because we have this relationship, I'm able to just quickly call Dave and say, hey, are these bank details correct? He says yes. I say yes, and the money goes out straight away. So in terms of speed, and the last thing is important, again, is security. These are your funds. They're very important to, everybody. And it doesn't matter how much money. Some people's $10,000 is worth the same as someone else's $1 million. We understand that. So you need to make sure that your funds are secure. So from our standpoint, that security is absolutely imperative to what we're doing, because quite often we're sending $100,000 to third parties. And imagine if you're walking into your local branch with the bank details of a notary in Italy or wherever you might be buying and saying, I need the money sent there. Again, they're not dealing with that on a daily basis. As per se, our company's dealing with notaries on a daily basis, third parties on a daily basis. So we get to vet who we're sending the money to before we actually send them, because, again, once we send it, we cannot get it back. So it's important. It's final. So, again, very, very important.
No, I think it's. That is what you did the other day is excellent, because I certainly felt protected. It was money that was coming to us as well, so I sort of felt some protection, and obviously the client did as well. But the most important thing is we managed to sort this out before the signing, because had it been a day or 2 days before the notary signing, we would have had to cancel it. Because if you wouldn't have got in touch, and it would have been a normal bank sending an email or even sending a letter, and everybody wondering where the money is, and that is a nightmare. So that I know that this kind of thing, and I also know no matter how prepared we want to be, obviously the money side gets transferred towards the end. It's not that we can transfer it to a notary a month before, because the notary doesn't want that. They want it a week, 10 days before, something like that, sent into their escrow account. So obviously it does become last minute. So every day counts. So somebody's asking a question here. Let's answer this one. Is there a limit on how many US dollars you can change into euros? I've read that you can run afoul of international banking laws.
Yeah, quite an interesting question. It's a big thing about $10,000. You know what I mean? In terms of like, what is $10,000? $10,000 is the amount of physical cash you can take into one country, but it's also the number of when a financial institution has to file a report called a currency transaction report. And that report requires us to find out what the source of the funds are. So quite often in your case, it's client savings or pension in some cases. And we need to find out who it is that we're sending the money to. So again, we're very comfortable sending large sums of money to a notary because they're a legal firm. And we're very comfortable sending money to a real estate firm like yourself. So that is what we need to do for every transaction over $10,000. We've done transactions over 10 million for individuals before. So again, there isn't any upper limit, there isn't any lower limit, but primarily our services are geared towards really larger transactions that quite often involve third parties where you're not transferring money necessarily to yourself or to a bank account that you have in a different country.
Yeah, because obviously what people, I'll tell people later how to get in touch with you and what you offer our clients and all the rest of it. We do try and make it as simple as possible, and people send the money to the notary. But the great thing, what I find with your company is also the fact that you have what they call a wallet, so you can exchange funds whenever you like, and hold it in your wallet and release it when needed, which I think is a great system. I know people have apps.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit before we go into the different ways people can use your services properly. I've just noticed my computer screens have gone off behind us, but anyway, there you go. Why shouldn't, 'cause I noticed today you have one of those cards. I won't do any publicity for that company.
Fine.
I have one of those cards, and lots of people have these. I think there's a bit of advertisement going around in the US because a few people have got some of these cards. You used it today. Why should I use Currencies Direct over using one of these sort of online banks, with a card? What would your...
It's literally quite often when it comes down to the larger amount, and again, when you're paying third parties. So I used it. I didn't have any euros even before I got to the airport. And in the airport, I was able to transfer money from my US dollars to euros. And today we were in a cafe, and I was able to use that card. It came out perfectly. And in terms of the fees, absolutely brilliant. There's nothing that I can say bad about them. However, when you're dealing with a really large transaction for the very first time, clients of ours even have problems sometimes when we're walking through step by step, holding their hands. They'll sometimes still have issues, because what still has to happen during any process is you have to send the money from your account to whichever the financial institution is, right? So again, that sometimes requires some hand holding. The second thing is with large transactions, you might not know exactly when the best time is to exchange those funds.
Yes.
So every single client of Currencies Direct, they get an account manager that they can speak to at any time regarding the exchange rates. And we were talking today, especially about when there's huge rate moves in the market. If there's been a 2% move in your favor and you're looking to transfer a large sum of money, what a great thing it is to have an actual individual reach out to you to give you updates on what the market is doing and what might be happening regarding your large transaction.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is, again, we're concentrating on getting you the maximum amount of euros for your currency, but we're also trying to time that to the best of our ability, and also to make sure that you're not going to fall into any pitfalls in the transaction. And I can tell you now, especially in the UK and the US, there are some pitfalls. So in the UK, for example, certain banks have daily limits, especially when it comes to transferring money from there to a foreign country.
Yeah.
And again, if you're transferring money the week before a closing, and then all of a sudden you find out you can only transfer 10,000 to a foreign country, again, that's going to cause delays. It's going to upset you. It's going to upset the sellers. And
it also affects it can affect the exchange rate you get, because it can change daily, can't it?
Absolutely.
If you're going to send 100k over 10 days, who knows? By day 10, the exchange rate could be completely different to day one. And I think that's. I do want to talk a bit more about that, because I do think that I think even now, even though people register with you, and I'll tell, if you do want to register with Currencies Direct, then just go onto the website, www.homeinicy.com. You'll see adverts for them all over. Just scroll down, you'll see an advert pretty similar to this that you're looking at now, as to either side of each other. You will see an advert. You can watch your videos that we did from the past, and you can click on that and open a free account. It doesn't cost you anything. Register with them. And from there, you can start to see how everything works. And the great thing is that any of our clients that register, if you need hand-holding, David will speak to you himself. He will even sometimes lets me give his WhatsApp number out, which have you regretted that yet?
There's been some interesting messages on there for sure.
I do.
Generally for the good.
The thing is, I do automatically give it out now. Just contact him, just tell him I've got to just send it off. Probably don't realize how many hundreds I've done that to. But the other great thing, what you guys are going to do for us, you're going to give us access to your calendar. This is going to be dangerous as well.
I know, I'm worried.
Because I'm going to book a few days on that. He's going to give us access to his online calendar, so you can block a day and speak to him. If you're not sure how it all works, obviously you'll go through it all. So make sure you register that way. It is an affiliate link, I will say that, and they do give us a small commission on anything that's made, but it doesn't, and I hope I'm right in saying this, and I know I am, it doesn't affect their rate. It doesn't mean that you bump it up to give us a little bit of something. It just means you get less commission, basically.
Our business plan is very different to, one of the online cards, if you like, you want to talk about those. They are just all about massive amount of customers that are, using them for daily life, if you like. Ours is all about partnerships. So what we look to do is find, people who are influential, who are have a voice that can go out to many, many people who are looking to transfer large amounts, and then basically using that partnership in order to, hey, great, we've got to look after this client, but we're really looking after the client because we're really trying to protect the relationship with you. It's part of the reason I'm sitting next to you right now, right? Is that you've sent us hundreds and hundreds of clients over the years. We're very, very grateful for, and my boss would love that to continue. So part of that is to understand the area, and what I wanted to do is come here and understand why so many people were buying here. So when I can have those conversations with you, whether it's a Calendly book in the call, that I can kind of understand about the region as well, and maybe even help in terms of like, this is a great place that I was taken to, or I know exactly what you're talking about.
You're after some commission. No, but I think, but again, that goes back to people. I mean, we do this weekly for people to get to know us, and what Currencies Direct do for our clients is give that personal thing as well. And that's what we love. We love that you will give up your time to speak to them. Then you've got Anthony back in the office, who's great as well. I'll not mention Anthony's love life yet. No, he texted
me today. He said it's doing all right. Yeah,
Anthony, if you're watching, I want an update soon. But no, there is this, but obviously you're a serious company and like anybody else, just the same as we are. But it is great to have that contact, and that is why I wanted to work with you guys. First of all, it all seems flawless. We've worked together now on a number of acts, and everything works perfect. I always say, if I know you've got the funds, not you personally, if I know Currencies Direct got the funds, then I can relax. And that it is a huge thing. As soon as somebody says to me, "I've already got the Currencies Direct account set up," it is actually a relief from our side as well. That is so important. And even the notary now, if he knows it's coming from you guys, because sometimes he'll ring and the secretary will ring and say the funds are not in yet, and we say, well, here's the receipt. As soon as the receipt's from you guys, that's it. We never get asked again, and that's huge. That's a big up for you guys, but it's also for us because it's that personal thing again. And that's why mentioning the affiliate link, I've said it's an affiliate link because I want to be honest about that. But we do get extra for that. It doesn't cost you any extra whatsoever. But what they give to you is that access. So that is important. But what I will say, going back to what we were talking about with how people sometimes use the cards to transfer this large amount of money, I would really struggle doing it on an app without speaking to anybody. Okay, some people think, no, I'll do that. What I find is even people that are registered with you, they're still not using you properly, in my opinion, because everybody seems to leave it while the last minute and then do a trade. Whereas if they're registering tonight and they know that they're going to buy a property, even if it's next year, but they know they're definitely going to do it, surely now's the time to do it when the dollar is at such a good, because the difference between dollar now and what, 6 months ago, whenever, we're talking thousands and thousands, aren't we?
Yeah, but I think one of the main things is people tend to think, well, it's doing that, it'll keep doing that. Yeah.
And it never does.
Well, you got to understand that if we knew what was going to happen, you know what I mean, our business is very, very different, right? Unfortunately, we don't. And everything that the market knows about what's going on is baked into whatever the rate is right now. And everybody's talking about, especially in America, obviously we have a new president there. This is going to be great for America. The dollar's going to be really, really strong. But if you looked at what happened in the first term that Trump had the first time around, within 6 months, the dollar got very strong. And then after that, it became very, very weak again. So very, very unusual. But what we would say, and if you look at anything regarding the United States right now, is people talk about the markets. They talk about one word, and that word is volatility. And volatility is a killer for people that have got dreams to buy property, especially one-off large transaction in a different country, because it can cost them a huge amount of money. And where the rate is right now, if you look at that historically, we had that brief moment where we got to parity, but then it quickly moved away from that, didn't it? And now again, we're getting close to that mark again. So if you know exactly what you want to do, then obviously we have products in place that can help you with that.
And we'll go through that now. You have just made me smile there. You got to watch this video back, because you actually said we've got a new president and America's going to be great again. He said that. We're not going to talk about politics. I'm not going to say whether he's forward. We're not even going to touch on any of that. We're very neutral. And you see, I don't think you meant to say that. But anyway, you've got to watch that back, because that's a fantastic moment. That's going to be on my highlights of the year. No, but joking aside, it's so. But I'm going to ask this question first, and we'll get back to this. So I have a Currencies direct account set up. Does my wife need one as well? Or is there such a thing as a joint account that we can both put dollars into?
Yeah, really easy to do, to open up a joint account. There's a bit, if you go into your online platform, you click settings, you can do one little where it says switch to a joint account, and that'll create a joint account. If you have any trouble with that, just get in touch with us. We can do it all manually over the telephone. The benefits to having a joint account, and again, this is something I would recommend for everybody who is in a good relationship to have, because having a joint account allows us to speak to both people about what is going on in the account. If it's your account, then I cannot speak to your wife about your account. And there's going to be times perhaps in your life where you're not feeling very well, or God forbid something else would happen, where then this allows us to help the other person regarding funds that might be connected to that account.
I didn't actually realize you could have a joint account, so I've learned something new tonight.
Joint account, we can have 3 people on an account.
Really? Right.
Yeah, again, the idea is, from our point of view, if we have a joint account, that means we can receive money from either of those accounts that, people have separate finances. And that allows us to collect the funds into one place and disperse it as one transaction, instead of dealing with multiple banks and people.
Okay, so we've got, going back again to what we were saying about not using people correctly. I know people leave this while the last minute. I also know some people say, I've got one of these cards, so I'm sorted now, because I know that some people think that those cards don't charge them, but they do, because I think for small transactions, a lot of it's free. Some of it isn't free anymore. Larger transactions, there's always that percentage difference. So obviously people get it into their mind, I've done that, but what they've missed is the 2 months that's passed. They've missed all those peaks where it's hit a certain amount, and they don't realize that they think they're saving at this end, but they've missed out on a huge opportunity. Halfway through them, and there's so many people do that. And I do think to have a relationship with somebody like Anthony, or whoever it is that their dealer is, and also, some of the products that you can do, let's say if I'm going to buy in 6 months, or let's say I've got a year plan, I'm not ready to do it now, but I know I'm definitely going to do it. So I've got, let's say, I'm going to say 100K, because it's just easy to pick that out of my, options such as, somebody asked me the other day, if it peaks through the night, how can I jump on that?
Yes.
Because obviously the markets are open 24/7. I don't know if it's 7 days a week. But if it hits that sweet spot, where if I'm coming from the UK and I say, right, as soon as it hits 120, I want you to buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does that work?
That's called a limit order. So again, that's something that we use for a lot of people who have got already maybe have funds on account, for example, or they're ready to make a transfer if that comes down to it. They tell us, we don't like the rate where it is at the minute, but should you be able to get me this particular rate within about, the next 6 months, please give me a call. And when that happens, then the money's automatically locked in at that exchange rate as soon as we can offer the rate that they're after. If you don't want to go that far, you can actually just set up a rate alert, which again, once we can offer you the rate that you want, you'll be bombarded with texts, emails, and probably a phone call, because again, that's our nature. If you've told us that you want something and it gets to that area,
you're going to get a phone call.
We're going to call you up. Absolutely.
And I think people shouldn't see that as a telesales call, because at the end of the day, this is another thing that possibly people don't think about, because we're going to talk about how you make your money in a second, but people think possibly it's just you're just bothering me because you want money from me. Obviously, we've all got to earn a living, and you're a business at the end of the day, but you're doing it for their benefit. When we were speaking today, you said there was a bit of an uplift at a certain point, and you wanted people on the phones saying to customers, you're going to be buying soon because you've registered with us. I really think you should be buying now. And you know, again, it's a great thing that this happened. I think sometimes people see it as a cold call, you know, and that sort of thing. It must be quite hard for the dealers to have to do it. But if I wanted to do it, let's say you say, if I say to you, David, if it hits 120, I'll have some money. Can you actually do it so it automatically buys it? So it doesn't matter when it hits that, it will just automatically pay.
Yeah, so that's best done on what we'd call a recorded line. So any conversations that you might have with someone at Currencies Direct are all recorded, again, to protect ourselves as much as our customers. But that's where you would enter into something that is legally binding. So if anybody is deciding to do that moving forward, if you've agreed to it, then, you know, when that rate hits, we expect you to send us the money in, you know, at least 7 days, for example. So that's the one thing that I would say is, if, for example, you've decided to back out of a deal, remember, if you've agreed to send that money, cancel that, and you can cancel it at any time, regardless of whether it ever hits the rate you're at or not.
Right. Okay. So the other products that I like, that you mentioned before, was the fact that, so if I'm buying in a year's time, but my money is tied up somewhere, I've got it in a savings account or wherever it is, but the rate, like it is now, I mean, the rate is fantastic. Isn't it? Do you think I don't know if it gets stronger or not, but certainly for Americans, and I noticed, I'm sure the pound is doing reasonably well against the euro as well. So Brits, you need to be on the lookout as well. But let's say I haven't got the money yet, or I'm selling a property, but it may take 6 months to do, or it's tied in a whatever, an ISA or some sort of savings, and I don't want to draw it out now. The product that you can offer for that, how does that all work?
Yes, so this is called a forward contract, and it is, you're right, a fabulous product. If you know for the fact that you're going to buy a property in Italy, and what that gives you the opportunity to do is to buy the currency today with only 10% of the funds due to Currencies Direct. And then we'll give you 2 years to then fulfill that contract. So again, what's brilliant about that, particularly in this era in America, we have very high interest rates. So this basically gives you the opportunity to lock in today's rate, which is good. And even if you've got the money available, then you can put $90,000 into a high interest savings account. And if you're not ready in a year, then you've grown your 90,000 by 4%. But the exchange rate is completely locked in. So listen, a couple of good things could happen there. Number one, the exchange rate goes against the market. Your money's locked in. It's secure. It's never, ever going to, you know, falter. Really great for your peace of mind, number one. But there is a good chance it might go the other way as well. And if it goes the other way, then great. You've at least had your money in an interest or an investment account where it's actually been accruing more money while it's been sitting there. So again, I wouldn't say necessarily like a no-brainer, but for sure, if you're somebody that's looking long-term to purchase a property here, and you know for a fact, or you have a sense like I do, that it might be volatile over the next 12 months or so, that, you know, it can give you the peace of mind that, you know, no other product that we can offer, you know.
I think it's fantastic. So putting it down to basics, my budget's 100K. I've got 100K tied up in whatever, or I've got 50K, whatever I've got tied up somewhere. And I think, okay, I want to hold the rate now because it's a great rate. I give you 10,000 euros, 10,000 pounds, $10,000, wherever it may be. You hold me that rate for the full 100,000. So you're not financing the 90, but you're saying, okay, we'll back that 90. We'll say, okay, we'll buy it now for you. And then in up to 2 years' time, that can be settled. Have you got to agree the date before, or can you change it as you go along?
Yeah, you can do some changes with it for sure. Generally speaking, if you're going to book it for 2 years, you can draw down at any point. So if you're ready after 6 months, then you can close that contract after 6 months. Yeah, no problem whatsoever. So,
and I think it's a great way, and it does make you relax about it. Because I know so many people leave it while the last minute, then they get stressed out and say, "Oh, if I'd have just exchanged last week, or if I'd just done this, and the date's getting closer," and then usually people exchange the money, and then for a month after they're still looking at the exchange. Just imagine if we would have waited a month. And again, these are products that people should be using rather than sort of thinking, okay, I've sorted that out. Use you guys. That's what you're here for. And to even use your money is even better.
Yes, absolutely.
And to block in these rates. I think if somebody's not signing for even for 2 months or 3 months, even if they do 50% now, it's still good, isn't it? You're backing your what's the word I'm looking for? You don't know if it's going to go up, you don't know if it's going to go down, but at least you've locked in half at this great
Well,
thing now.
We talk about the wallet system, which is really good for this instance. So if you're not ready to take the plunge on the whole amount, let's just say you've got 100,000 and you're looking to move in 12 months. Well, then you could exchange $10,000 a month for 12 months.
Right.
And then you're going to get an average of the exchange rate over that whole period of time. So you're never going to get it at the top or the bottom. And to be honest, you're going to be extremely lucky to ever get, you know, the top or the bottom of the market.
Yeah.
So in that instance, another way to what we'd call hedge, you know, your money when it comes to the exchange rate, for sure.
Yeah. So it's talking about this then. So talking about obviously all these different products you've got, and you know, people can just give you 10% if they want to and do the 90. How do you make your money?
Yeah.
And is their money safe?
Yeah. So we'll go with the safety of the money first. So with all companies in our industry, we're what we call a money services business. So we're not a bank. However, we use large banks. So for example, if you're UK based, typically Barclays. If you're in the US, typically JP Morgan Chase. They've got limits to what they protect as a business. So in the United States, it's $240,000. In the UK, it's £85,000. But companies like ours, we have to ensure 100% of the funds involved. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a license, or we wouldn't be able to operate in Europe or the UK or the USA. So 100% of the client's
all
funds.
the funds, even if it doesn't matter how much money it is, it's all completely safe.
Yeah, because what we're doing is we're not using your money and we're not investing it in the market like a bank would do.
Right.
What we're doing is we ring fence the funds. They don't accrue any interest while they're on hold with Currencies Direct, but they're completely ring fenced. So if something happened to Currencies Direct tomorrow, those funds would just be dispersed back to the clients involved.
Right.
We've been in business since 1996. I think last year we transferred $15 billion.
Right.
And we're only making our money when somebody exchanges funds from one to the other.
Okay.
So what we're doing is back-to-back transfer, back-to-back trades, if you like. And in that split second is the only time that we make any revenue whatsoever.
Right.
So the same with Currencies Direct in a bank. We're making money because the exchange rate we're offering our clients is better. It's not as good, sorry, as the exchange rate that we're buying our currency at.
Yes.
So the easiest way to think about it is Currencies Direct and other companies in our industry, we're a wholesaler versus a bank, which is very much a retail rate. Okay. But I would say on average versus a US bank, we're about 2% better. And versus a British bank, probably about 2.5% better. So again,
I would say, and more as well.
Yeah. Well, again,
in some cases,
I'm talking about the major banks in the United States. If we start talking about credit unions and things like that, I've seen us be 5, 6, 7% versus a bank. That's better ridiculous. Than those exchange rates.
So on 100K, 5, 6, 7K difference. I mean, that pays for people's taxes and notary fees. And
yeah.
like
and if you talk about the United States, the UK as a whole, or the US as a whole, again, big differences in the money for sure.
I mean, to think that you could save a minimum, I know you can't do minimums, but an average of a couple of percent on 100K, it's still a couple of grand. It's a lot of money.
Yeah,
you know, you can buy a kitchen here. For that.
We were talking.
Imagine how many drinks in that bar we could have had today with 2,000.
So cheap here, isn't it? Anyway, if you remember the Place in the Sun show, you know, you talked about us being like double glazed and salesmen, and we're absolutely everywhere. In the United States, it's not like that at all. There's maybe 4 companies that deal with, you know, clients in the United States that in the same sort of ilk as we do. So again, it's a huge playground in terms of like the opportunity size. But again, we're not necessarily interested in people that have got like $50 to exchange. Yeah. We're dealing with real serious partners that, you know, offer us real clients that have got, you know, really large.
But again, you don't have to go into millions of things. You know, I mean, there's people that's buying houses for 10 grand, 20 grand.
Oh,
and that's absolutely fine.
And every single company in our industry will beat the rate offered by your bank. Okay. I mean, if you threw a blanket over the exchange rates of 10 exchange companies, there's not that much difference. Which again is why we rely heavily on, you know, the personal touch, but also a partnership, because we talk about the cards again, and just to touch on that again quickly, even with our services, someone could put in the wrong account number and wonder where the money is. And the only thing I would invite people to do who are using or thinking about using the card is to ask them, who are you dealing with at that particular company for when something does go wrong? And generally speaking, I've had one of those cards for 7 or 8 years. I've never, ever spoken to a person. I did have one trouble with one payment. And the frustrating part about that is I'm putting information into a chat machine and I'm getting these automated responses back that aren't helping me out whatsoever. And sometimes it's quite nice just to have that individual to talk to and
definitely.
say, hey,
and it's only ever, I always say, it's only ever a problem when it's a problem.
Yeah.
And if all of a sudden you've gone wrong with one digit or something's not quite, you're going to lose a couple of nights sleep, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's again, the fact of using a company like yours more to get the better exchange rate is one thing. The security is another thing, but speaking to somebody, speaking to a professional is massive on all levels.
Yes.
Whether it's a problem or whether you just want some advice, whether or not you think that the exchange rate is going to change. We're going to answer a couple of questions. Tony, I also saw one for Bitcoin. We'll answer that one as well. So if you sign up for the 2 years, this sign up for the 2 years, it can be any length of time.
Yes.
And close before that, is there any early settlement charge?
Oh, absolutely not. We want it settled as quickly as possible because, again, we don't make any money until we've actually conducted the transaction. Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely no. And again, it doesn't have to be the 2 years. You could say, I'm buying in 6 months, but I don't want to use my money yet, or my money's not due yet, but I don't want to miss out on this exchange rate. Then that's great. Was the one, Tony, for Bitcoin? He's looking. Can you see him down in the corner? You can see. You can tell when Tony's concentrating. Usually he puts his glasses on his forehead. Oh no, he's lost it. Oh, it's there. Can I transfer Bitcoin to your account for purchases of property?
So we don't accept Bitcoin. However, whoever you're holding your Bitcoin with, whether it's your broker, for example, then you can instruct them to send money to your Currencies Direct account. That would then lead to questions from Currencies Direct as to how you originally inputted that money into Bitcoin in the first place. Because again, that kind of cryptocurrency, for right or wrong, it has been linked to a lot of money laundering in the past. So again, from our point of view, we'd want to see, when did you buy it, and when did you sell it, and is that the same sort of roughly the same amount of money? Because again, crypto, absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's definitely going to be part of the future of our industry, I would imagine. But at the minute you can send money to anybody, and as soon as you've sent it, it's pretty much gone and lost. Okay. So we can, but it's very regulated, and it's all tied to the US dollar anyway. So when you take your money out of Bitcoin, it's going to go back into US dollar, and then you're going to send it to us from there.
Okay. And Brad, that's just used our services recently in Canada, I think he wrote a nice comment, if you find that, Tony, because I know he did shop around a few things. He gave a big thumbs up as a Canadian. I'm sure Tony will put that on in a second. So to bring it, no, that's the wrong one. I did the transfer so without my wife. I knew what he was talking about there. Tony, do you mind sticking to the subject? That's the right person, but the one before that. Anyway, is there you go. For Canadians, I did a deep dive into the options, and Currencies Direct was the best. There you go. That's for every Canadian out there. There you go. Brad's done the research for you and got a great property as well.
So one thing about our services, sometimes people assume that we're just going to take money out of their bank account, right? Yeah. So the main thing is that eventually you're going to have to send the money to Currencies Direct. However, in the case of a Canadian client, or in the case of an American client or a British client, all you're doing is sending your money domestically to a bank that's either in Canada, in the United States, or in the United Kingdom. Yeah. You're not making an international transfer. So one thing that I know terrifies a lot of people is when they see an IBAN for the first time. Yeah. It's like, wow,
all these numbers.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about that. We'll actually make the payment to the companies going on from there. You just need to be able to make a domestic transfer from your Lloyd's account to Barclays, or from your Bank of America account to JP Morgan Chase, or in the case of Canada, we use Bank of Montreal. So again, huge banks, which is again good for us, but it's also good for people that are comfortable about working with those particular banks in their own country, which is important.
Okay, so we did say right at the start of the show about them not having a license in every state in the US. But hopefully that's going to change on the 31st of March. Anybody that is exchanging money before then, we do have another contact who we deal with, and I can comfortably say that she's also a friend of yours, isn't she?
She's actually my next door neighbour.
Oh, is she really?
And I was the best man in their wedding.
Right.
So
okay.
We work for competitors, but our industry's the same, our job is the same.
Yeah.
So.
And she's great, to be fair, as well. She's great. So if it is outside of the states where Currencies Direct can deal with it at the moment, obviously get in touch, and I will give you details of her as well. But after the 31st of March, that's all going to change anyway. Is it still near impossible for Canadians to purchase in Italy? Government issues? No, actually, we can, as long as the town is below 10,000 people, 10,000 residents, we can. The market is open for Canadians. I need to do a bit more publicity on that, because a lot of people don't know, with all the problems, the restrictions that Canada put in for people buying from Italy and other countries. Obviously, Italy did the same back. But our notary is happy. Our notary is happy to do signings for Canadians. Less than 10,000 what's the word I'm looking for? Population, that's it. Less than 10,000, and we've done it for a number of Canadians, so it's not a problem at all. So just to quickly run through, because we've got 5 minutes left. Do you have services in Sweden? I mean, again, I'm always thinking they're going to be exchanging sort of over there, but you could do not any country, but all European countries, if they're buying in America or buying in Australia, or Australians buying wherever. Yeah.
Not only that, we have a Scandinavian team. So we deal in Scandinavian banks. So Swedish krona, Danish krona, Norwegian krona. We have a Scandinavian team that decided that they wanted to base themselves in Spain. So good for them. But again,
just tired of the cold weather.
I would imagine so, right? Absolutely. So again, when you're dealing in large amounts, if you can again speak to somebody who knows a common language, but also knows your banking system,
yes,
I think that's a massive benefit, honestly. And
but
again,
they can still register through. I'm not saying this just to go onto our affiliate link, but just because people may want to speak to you first, because they see you on here, they can still register in the same way, and then you pass them on to...
Or straight to the person that they need to deal with. Right. I'm like, this person is based in Sweden. Again, I know that if I speak to British people that are selling property in the United States, even though we speak the same language, my chances are going to be much higher of converting that client than an American person speaking to a British person, right? Yeah. It's just the way that it is. So I just, again, lean on what we have as a business in terms of the expertise that we have throughout it. And there's not too much difference in terms of what we do. But because we're primarily dealing in property-related transactions, the knowledge and the know-how, I think, really is beneficial for people that are
definitely. But at the end of the day, as well, if they need you at any point during the time, they can easily contact you, no matter whose office they're
absolutely.
So just to put it in a nutshell for people that are watching, the way things work usually with our clients, I am in the stage of altering the website just to try and make things a little bit easier for the vast majority to be online. But you can register now. Going onto our website, thehomeanditaly.com. You'll see loads of advert for Currencies Direct. Just scroll down the page. There's a big box. It says open account there. I think it's pretty much on every page. Click on there. You can open it now free of charge. They don't have to do any. You will get some calls, because obviously people in their offices are going to be thinking, well, these people are ready. Let's call them. And are you ready yet? And all the rest of it. And you may get calls as well if the rate suddenly jumps up. And are you ready? But take it as a help to you. Even if you do say to them, look, I've opened the account, but we're not ready yet. I'm going to be going to Italy next month or in 3 months or whenever, but I've opened the account. That's the first stage. Open the account, then you're ready. Then all that happens once you're actually ready to start, once you found the property and we've spoken and deposits have been paid, usually that's done by credit card, start with just a small deposit. Once it starts just sending the real money over, maybe for the preliminary contracts or for the final contracts, that's when these guys step in. You just top your account up, basically. So let's say you've got, I'm going to say American dollars again, but wherever you are, top your account up in dollars. So I've got $100,000 in my account. I send you $100,000. It sits in my Currencies Direct wallet that I've got access to at any time. Is that by app? And
yes,
it sits in there as $100,000 until I decide that I want to change it to dollars.
Yes,
and then it still stays into euros. It still stays in my wallet, but in my euro wallet.
Yes,
and then you have dollars wallet, euro wallet, or whatever.
Swedish krona wallet,
right.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then you hold it there, and as soon as we're ready to transfer it on, then we just send you instructions, and that's it.
Yeah, and if there's a rate right now that you like, you can actually lock it in, and we won't expect the money for 5 days. So again, you've got time to get down to the bank. Sometimes you're going to have to set an appointment to send a wire transfer, especially if you're not comfortable doing it online.
Yeah.
But yeah, another great way we can, assist for sure.
Perfect. But yeah, so that's the company, Currencies Direct. That is their website if you want to have a look. But I know I keep going on about this affiliate link, but what I don't want is for people to register from the website and then not have access to Dave. I want to be able to give his WhatsApp number out because he loves that. But that is again, it's not all about the commission cycle, not at all. Obviously, it's a help. It's a help to support you guys, support us to do these kind of things that we're doing, to buy equipment and all the rest of it, which is fantastic. But I know personally that I am more important for people. I'm offering you another person to speak to rather than a computer or, I don't know, somebody you've never met before. I think people know you now. We bumped into a few clients today, which is always nice. Luckily, you looked after them. Otherwise, that could have been a problem. But that, again, that's what it's all about. That's what we do. That's our business. Everybody we deal with, we like to have this kind of relationship, and that's why I'm really happy you've come over. And tonight we're going to be having a few drinks. I think. What was that? Ask Nixon to stop in Alcudia before returning to Florida.
Goodness me, I can't see the name there. So are they anonymous?
Jamie Doherty.
Oh no, so that's where I used to live when I lived in Mallorca, Spain. Yeah, so I would love to stop through there. Although I can't imagine there's too much going on in February in northern Mallorca. I could be mistaken, but I think I'll save my next trip there for the summer. So hope to see you there.
Superb. Okay, Anthony Cambridge took good care of me, and that is. Don't know, I have to click every time. Oh, it's Lorraine.
Yeah.
Lorraine is possibly. I better not say. I'll not say that's Lorraine. I won't mention that you might be looking at another property. I won't say anything. How long can you keep the money in the wallet?
Indefinitely. Again, no.
But
problem.
you're not a bank, though.
No.
It is safe, but you don't. It's not there just for people to start piling money in.
No, we don't allow people to use our services to speculate on the currency. So, sometimes I'll meet people and I'll say, "What do you do? Currencies? Can I go and buy and sell a bunch of currency and try and make money on the market?" We're an international payments firm. Right. So as long as that money's intended for something, so if you're buying it to buy a property, that's the reason that we require as a transfer. And listen, sometimes you might not go through with that property purchase, and that's okay as well, right? Yeah. Then we'll transfer it back into dollars for you, no problem whatsoever. But yeah, we're not there to speculate. We're there just to, assist in the international payment. No interest with us either. So again, if you've got a large sum of money, there's no point having it on account with us because it's not going to work for you. No. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So just one last one then. Having it in let's say you've got it in your wallet. Let's say you've not put it in your wallet yet. You've opened the account, the wallet is empty, but I really like this rate now and I want to book it. I haven't got to fill my wallet first, have I?
No.
As long as I get the money, once we've done the deal on the phone, as long as you get the money within a few days.
Yeah, and sometimes that can take time as well. Like you might be subject to, my bank will only let me send 10,000 today. We understand that as a business. As long as you're making an attempt to get the funds to us, we're not going to send the bailiffs around to, recoup that money from you in person for sure.
I think you did ring me once though in the early days. To look back. Somebody's just said, is it Jermaine? Somebody's been using somebody's services.
Jermaine's based in the United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom has been really helpful. So that's good. We're gonna have to get all these different people on sometime.
Yeah,
we've only met Anthony and Tina.
Yeah. So Jermaine, I've never met Jermaine in person, but I do know where she's based, and phenomenal member of staff. Again, a lot of the times, if you're based in the UK, you're probably going to deal with our UK office. Right. But the great thing about it is, if you're a busy person working 9 to 5. And then at 5 o'clock, well, guess what? You've still then got the US office open. They'll service you in exactly the same way until 11 p.m. that night. Perfect. So again, extended hours instead of your bank where you're restricted into certain times when they can help you out.
So the last question, not sure if I missed the answer, but are you servicing Arizona yet?
No, that's part of the...
That's part of the 31st of March.
I just went there last year for the first time. And when you talk about beautiful places, I went to a place called Sedona. Phenomenal. And I had the same sort of feel when I got to Abruzzo. So,
but it's better here, though, isn't
it? Well, it's cheaper.
He's a tight northerner from the UK. He's even further north than where I was in the UK. So as you go higher, you get really tight.
Even the Romans only got up to where I'm from, and then they decided to stop. Right?
Did, so, First of all, it's cold, and then with all the Scots looking at them. So just to let everybody, we went to a bar today, and he got his Americano. Terrible. I was being good actually. I only had a Coke Zero. I did feel like having a drink. But
You were itching here, weren't you?
I was. We're going to make up for it tonight. But we got these 2 drinks, and then they brought us a quite a large tray, wasn't it?
Yes.
Of bread, oil, different salamis, different. It was a fair size.
It was good, yeah. It was good. We made a good dent in it for sure.
And it came to how much was the bill?
It was €12, and I love a charcuterie board, right? And so does my wife. So I sent her a picture, and I was like, "How much do you think?" And she came back and said 45. And I was like, I sent her the receipt. Yeah, brilliant.
So if Currencies Direct, I don't know if they've possibly sent anything over to take us out or anything. We're gonna have to make a dent in that tomorrow.
We'll try. My out of office email will be on tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
It'll say that I'm not working today. So
and Currencies Direct, Mr. CEO, what was his name again? Sorry.
Oh no.
Yeah, if the expenses go up a little bit for February, I will take full responsibility for it. Okay, fantastic, Dave. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's great that you're here. We're going to have some homemade pizza now.
Yeah.
Sylvana's downstairs getting all of that ready, so
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. Tony said he might pass by for a drink later.
Oh.
Well, I'll keep the door locked. We'll see him later. Thank you so much for coming in. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, guys, so hope you've enjoyed this one. A bit different having somebody else here. As I say, go onto the website, watch some of the other videos as well that we've done with David and also with the team. I think Anthony only came on the Christmas specials, didn't he?
Yeah.
We're going to have an update with Anthony soon and see how his love life is going off. He shared a bit of that with us on the last Christmas thing. But no, go onto the website, open an account, see what it's all about, talk to these guys, and make it part of the process of getting ready, because you're going to be. It's so stress-free when you're dealing with people that make things easy, and I can't say that enough, because I've seen too many people wait for the last minute. Things are going wrong. We've had to delay signings. The owners have got annoyed about it. Maybe they've run out of contract because they said they were going to do something by a certain date, then didn't do it. It's so stress-free just to get the account open, then you're ready. Then from there, we will explain how it all works. So there you go. Have a look on the website at homeinitaly.com. Go down to the bottom of the page. You will see loads of adverts on pretty much every page. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We will see David again. We might give you an update. We might do a few shorts on YouTube tomorrow while we're having lunch. We'll see how that goes. And we'll be in touch. We'll see you again next, I'm forgetting what day it is, next Tuesday at the same time. And next week, we're going to be introducing somebody else that's new to the Home in Italy team. It's another foreign exchange company. No, it's not. We've got somebody else that we're really looking forward to introducing, somebody that's going to be helping us with the Lean on Me services. We've got a fantastic person that's coming in to join the team, so we're going to be introducing her next week and talking about some of our services. Thank you so much for all your support as usual. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next Tuesday at the same time.